Welcome to the Shabby And Man podcast. We are partners, parents, podcasters, broadcasters,
and everything else in between. Namaskar. Now, we've literally just finished watching the most exciting cricket match to the next one. It was very exciting.
Yes, this is the World Cup, T20 World Cup that we're talking about. India playing Pakistan in New York. The match has just finished. What a nail-biter.
That's right, in the USA. Now, first of all, before it started, I had my doubts about, it's happening in the USA. Will anyone appreciate it? But we forget how many engineers live in the USA.
Yeah, it seemed like a very unlikely...
As Pakistan will know, because the USA team...
Yeah.
The star player works for Oracle, I think.
Yes. It seemed like a very unusual decision and a very, very kind of strange place to set a cricket tournament in, but then their argument is that they're trying to take cricket to new countries, new continents.
And it's not just USA, it's the West Indies as well.
Yeah.
There was another match happening in Antigua at the same time.
Yes, West Indies of course makes perfect sense, because once upon a time they used to be the superpowers in the days of Viv Richard. Even before him, who was the West Indian captain?
Gary Sobers.
Clive Lloyd is the one I'm thinking about. So many amazing players.
Sir Clive Lloyd, Sir Gary Sobers, Sir Viv Richards.
Absolutely. But you tell me that they're not so rated anymore. West Indies
in the last 10 years,
it's not what it used to be.
They're not in the top four, put it that way.
Yeah.
First of all, let me just tell you about the ground and all.
Yeah.
The tickets were incredibly expensive. Most people who lived in New Jersey and all who were going down to New York were not too happy. But saying that, the tickets were oversubscribed 200 times.
Yeah, they were saying that people were willing to shell out $10,000 or something like that.
I was looking at it. The actual tickets were between, I think, $175 to $400, $500. But the starting price, which you get a ticket from on the websites and all, was, I think, $700. So already it was inflated like 5 times.
Yeah. I heard somebody say 10,000, obviously on the black market. Yeah. That's up to over 10 grand. And they were saying that obviously Indian fans outnumbered Pakistani fans, as they were saying that the stadium was a sea of blue. And they were saying
there's only 35,000 the capacity is, I think, only 35,000.
Yeah, but they were saying that apparently there were coach full of Indian fans that came down from cities like Boston, and they're not really next to each other. It was a considerable drive. Nonetheless, it must have been a big moment, I think.
Well, for anyone who didn't watch the match, it was India had basically lost it.
Yeah. They threw the match away completely.
We thought it was over.
All the big stars failed, from Virat Kohli to Rohit Sharma to everybody collapsed.
And once again, we were saved by Jasprit Bumrah.
Yes. And they're saying that, in fact, this might have been the first time that India actually did not even last the distance. They were bowled out before their 20 overs were up in a T20 World Cup.
And I think it's the lowest score they've made in T20. They made 119.
Which is shameful, and everybody thought that this was going to be just a cakewalk for Pakistan. And it was up until about halfway through their innings, right? Babar Azam and the other person.
It's like India. India were doing very well at the start, and then suddenly, in the space of like 2-3 overs, they lost like 5-6 wickets for 7 runs or something.
After 87 for 3, suddenly it became like 95 for 6 or something like that, right? And again, but the exciting thing, I think, for cricket fans was the fact that the match wasn't decided until the last 2 balls, right?
It could have gone to a super over.
Which
is what happened to Pakistan and USA.
Yeah, it came down to 2 balls and 12 runs needed, which means it was possible if they hit 2 sixes, but it was probably not going to happen, because India and Pakistan, when they play each other, they put under so much pressure. And because obviously we support India, we've got a big grin on our face. But I think
we'll see how it goes. Nothing is written in stone.
Yeah, that's true. But
as you know, Australia wins everything. Yeah. If they win this, did you tell me that they'll have won every format played?
That's right, in men's and women's. T20, World Cup, etc., etc. Any other format of cricket that the world plays, Australia would have won if they end up winning the T20 World Cup, men's T20 World Cup as well. So I still think that the Indian team will have a lot of soul searching to do. They'll have to really go back and think about why the big players did not perform at all. And I hope that Bumrah gets all the credit for kind of completely steering the match in a different direction and winning it for India.
Saved by the bowlers.
Yeah, because
yet again.
And as you're saying, that nothing is set in stone and it could well change. And again, looking back a couple of months ago, or was it October, November last year, the World Cup, where India ended up winning everything and then lost the most crucial match, which was the final. So one doesn't...
I really did think that it's a law of averages. You should lose a match here and there.
Oh yeah, it also depends on... But you know, the thing is, as commentators were saying right from the start, when India and Pakistan play each other, it's so much more than just a cricket match. And they were saying, ironically, these are two countries which are culturally the most similar. And off the field, they've forged such beautiful friendships. You know, you look at the former players, the veterans who are all commentating in the same box. They're all meeting each other at various fantastic venues around the world, traveling together.
It's sporting rivalry. We have our own little sporting rivalry in the little place we live in.
Yes.
Which is our two local teams.
The London Derby.
Which are equidistant from us. One is called Arsenal, one is called Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah.
They have a rivalry.
Yeah.
In Manchester, they've got City and United.
Yeah.
It's just
Spain,
that
these are neighborhoods or cities you're talking about, whereas here you're talking about two countries. But you're right, it's just about sporting rivalries. And so I think cricketers, Indian cricketers and Pakistani cricketers, when they play each other, they've not just got to play well, they've got to know how to play under pressure, because they're put under... Again, they were saying that all these rivalries are drummed up by the press, you know, because the teams are normally given such a hard time if they lose against this particular team. And I think increasingly it's just built up. But what a thrilling match. What a thrilling match it was.
This sort of pressure also is between England and Australia.
Yes. Yeah.
They also have their rivalry.
One-upmanship, trying to prove to the other person that, you know, we're better. And this is what actually, I mean, galvanizes the fans to really invest in a sport, because that's what makes it exciting, right?
I think England might be the present holders of this.
Could well be. I have no idea. And
of this format.
Yes. So there you go. We've just literally, the last ball was bowled literally like 10 minutes ago.
Of course, there's so many other things happening as well.
There's so much happening today, right? Because you were looking at your phone while the match was on and saying, oh, there's breaking news. Oh, there's this has happened. Oh, that has happened.
Macron in France has called general election.
So what, at the same time as the Olympics?
I think the end of July.
Yeah.
Or the end of June, maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Which would be near about the same time.
Parliament is going to get dissolved.
Yeah.
What has happened? There was some tragedy in Jammu and Kashmir.
Yes.
Which happened a few hours ago.
The Indian Prime Minister was sworn in again for his third term.
The big news was Modi 3.0, which was happening.
Yeah.
And, you know, we have a lot of listeners in, of course, we have it in India, but we also have a lot in America and England and all. So I think we should give a little ABCD, A to Z of what exactly happened today in politics.
Go on then. Are you trying to hint that you've actually done a bit of research this time around?
No, from watching TV and knowing what's going on. We know that he's been sworn in for the third time.
Yes.
But of course, we also know that it's a coalition.
Yeah.
It's not I think to get a majority, BJP needed 240 seats. And no, they got 240 seats. They were 32 seats short. They needed 272 seats. So they didn't have enough, right? So they had to do a coalition. That was called the NDA.
Yeah.
Which is
the National Democratic Alliance.
Correct. So it's I think it's 15 members altogether from the NDA, and they managed to get enough seats to make a majority and
form the government,
be the party in power and form the government, as you say.
Yes.
So things have changed this time. First, BJP it's 10 years where BJP have been the majority. Have been the majority what?
Party.
They have been the party with the most MPs. And
also the most controversial, I'd like to think.
And they had, in the last session, they had 81 ministers. This time I think they've got 72.
Yes.
So they've got not so many politicians. And what I was trying to say was that Chandra Babu Naidu has become the kingmaker. You know, he's the guy from the TDP, which is the Telugu party, yeah? Telugu
Democratic Alliance.
I don't know what it stands for. Telugu something party, right? And they've got like 16 seats. So obviously he is very, very influential. And then you've also got people like Nitish Kumar, who's from the Janata Dal, and they've got 12 seats. So he has to give them seats in the ministry as well.
Yeah.
It can't just be BJP.
Portfolios.
Because I think Chandrababu Naidu has asked for 4 seats, and Janata Dal have asked for a seat or 2. Yeah, so
What do you mean a seat? You mean
in the ministerial
in the okay.
in the ministerial seats?
Yeah.
You know, the big 12, 13 seats of government,
Yeah.
like finance ministries, which
Yeah.
are not. Finance ministry is staying.
Yeah.
Most
Defense.
of the seats are staying with
Defense,
whoever they want.
media, finance, all of them, of course. Home Minister.
So today was the swearing-in ceremony, and you saw lots of celebs. We saw Shah Rukh Khan there. Of course, Kangana Ranaut is an MP now.
Yeah.
Where's she from? Mandi
in Himachal Pradesh.
in Himachal Pradesh, and of course you had the Prime Minister, Presidents of Bangladesh and Nepal and Sri Lanka.
Although political commentators have pointed out that this is a victory that felt like defeat, and for Congress it was a defeat that felt like victory, because finally Prime Minister Modi has, been part of the Rajya Sabha, where you're nominated. You don't actually have to contest an election, right? Jaya Bhaduri, Jaya Prada, all these people, Shatrughan Sinha, Hema Malini, they're just for the star quotient, because they have to tick some boxes and fill some seats, and they have to represent the creatives of the country. But you're absolutely right. Very few of them. I give full marks to my absolute favorite, Javed Akhtar, who actually changed the laws and made such a massive difference for creative people in Bollywood.
I don't know what you're talking about. Is he a member of?
He was. It was while he was a member of parliament that he got this law passed, and it took him years and years of craft, which is that artists whose work is used over and over again, like songwriters, composers, they should be paid a royalty. Earlier, music companies were so powerful that, these are oil stains. Earlier, music companies...
I was just looking at her hand. I suddenly saw all these marks.
Yeah, this is tadka lagate samay, garam.
You burnt yourself?
I burnt myself. So earlier, these music companies were so powerful that once a lyricist had written a song and a composer had composed a song, they always got a one-time fee, and that's it. Uske baad kitni bhi baar koi bhi us gaane ko saalon saal gata rahe, they would not get a penny. Javed Akhtar was the one who took it upon himself.
So they just aligned themselves to the Western ways.
Absolutely. And he said that this is how it is in the West, and this is how it should be. Why should just the music companies walk home with all the profit? And that's what I feel, that even though you are a Bollywood celebrity sitting in parliament, those who really want to stand up for a cause and make a difference, I mean, they're few and far between, but people like him, they did make a difference, and he'll always be given credit for that. Ye baat aur hai ki, because he himself has written so many hit songs, I'm sure his...
he had a vested interest.
He has I'm sure he's making a tidy sum from royalties nonetheless. But you're right, Kangana, at least credit where it's due. She fought an election, she had a convincing victory. It'll be interesting to see what kind of drama she...
Talking about Kangana, I think, I don't agree with many of her views, but I don't think anyone has the right to slap her.
No, that's true. That was that was just ridiculous. Yeah. That's just people taking the law into their own hands and just totally out of line. And again, a lot of Bollywood
and here as well, in England as well, a politician who I don't really agree with, Nigel Farage.
Yeah.
A girl threw some milkshake on him.
Yeah.
That also is totally wrong, because you don't know it was milkshake.
Yeah.
It could be acid.
Yeah.
It could be anything.
Yeah.
So
that's just not the way to protest.
Yeah, I don't agree with these things at all.
Yeah. In fact, people in Bollywood, full marks to Bollywood, a lot of people... Kangana Ranaut had a very public, very bitter spat with Javed Akhtar. They were actually embroiled in a legal case. But Shabana Azmi came out and said that there's very little love lost between me and Kangana, but I think I completely condemn this. This is not the way forward. Kangana Ranaut has a bitter history with Hrithik Roshan, because she always alleges that she was in a relationship with him, and that Roshan's tried everything.
Well documented.
In the book, well documented. Hrithik Roshan has gone ahead and liked a tweet where people have condemned the attack on her. So people are saying that Bollywood is, finally putting personal views to one side and doing the right thing, which is amazing. But then, of course, there's another view that's saying that, is it because she's an elected member of parliament now, and that, they're all trying to kind of be in her good books? But absolutely, there's no way you can say well done, and one has to follow protocol, and you have to do it the right way if you don't believe with somebody's policies.
And in British politics, unfortunately the Conservative Party have gone from bad to worse.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
Rishi Sunak
absolute
misjudged, I think, that move.
Whitewash for the other parties.
Yeah. And we're talking about recently in Normandy, when they had, was it celebrating
D-Day?
100 years of...
80 years.
80 years of the Normandy landings. And clearly it is, these are events and pages from history that still make people very emotional, that still wake, because you're talking about war veterans, people who've laid down their lives so that countries could be free and war
basically,
could
Rishi
end.
Sunak left early.
Yeah.
Because he had to do a TV interview.
Yeah.
So he left early, and
he got a lot of flack for that.
President Biden, Macron,
even Keir Starmer
were there. Was Keir Starmer there?
Keir Starmer was there as well.
David Cameron filled in for Rishi Sunak. And now the racism is kind of showing a bit, because many politicians saying, well, he's not really British.
Yeah.
He didn't know.
So he didn't care.
He didn't care enough.
Yeah. He didn't judge the sentiments of the people.
Yeah.
You know, and
he stayed behind. He stayed for the British bit.
Yeah.
And didn't stay for the French bit.
Rishi Sunak, by the way, has apologized profusely for that. And he's saying that, I'm sorry if I've offended anyone. I really, in hindsight,
it was the wrong thing to do.
It was the wrong thing to do. But there you go. Politics is clearly the top story all around the world, whether it is Donald Trump, whether it is Rishi Sunak, Narendra Modi, you're saying now France, and of course, to say nothing of the heartbreaking tragedy in the Middle East, which has just gone on and on and on while the world has looked on.
Israel got 4 hostages out,
but
at what cost?
Yeah. I think Israel has lost a lot of respect for, people have lost a lot of respect for the way the Middle East drama is panning out, only because human lives are being lost every single day in such heartbreaking conditions that you cannot but pray and hope that they find a solution to this sooner rather than later. So yeah, politics even moving forward is going to be the big story, and so will cricket and the Olympics, and this is the billing this as the summer of sport, right? Yeah, and there's another European football thing also starting very soon, right? The Euros. Do they also come around every 4 years?
I think so, yes.
So, well, there you go. 2024 is going to be massive for politics and sport.
Yeah, I think the Olympics are happening not too long from now. About a month? About
a month's time, which is when I'm going to be in India. And it's going to be quite interesting actually to see how things pan out. It's probably the first time we are not really talking about films and entertainment, because there's so much else that's going on that needs to be highlighted and discussed.
We'll do that next time, because you've done quite a few high-profile interviews recently.
Yeah, I have. And there are quite a few interesting things releasing on OTT and elsewhere. But from the top of my head, my favorite showbiz story from last week was the fact that Lapata Ladies has emerged as the most streamed Indian film on Netflix of 2024 so far, beating Animal, beating Fighter, beating all the other big films that were.
There's a point there where I don't agree, which is the fact that so many people watched Fight and Animal in the cinema that they thought, why should we watch it on OTT?
No, but
Lapata Ladies didn't really get that many viewers in the cinema.
It's true, because it caters to a niche. But just the
it's
fact,
like apples and pears.
No, not at all.
You can't say Lapata Ladies did so well on Netflix. That means it's done better than the other two movies. It hasn't.
No, because for a film that is set in rural India, which has no big stars,
it's done very well.
For it to beat everybody else,
it's beaten the other movies because the other movies have been seen so much by people in the cinema.
It's beaten the other movies comprehensively. It's not by like a few millions. It's got 17.9 million, whereas Animal and all are on 13 million or 12 million. That's beating it comprehensively.
Yeah, but when you look at the box office, I don't think Fighter did that well. You have a point there. I think Animal did amazing at the box office.
Yeah, it did actually. Sometimes makes you wonder why, but it did. You're right. You can't take it away from.
Is there anyone you've not got in for?
Nope. I do not believe in being politically correct. I believe in being honest about.
So you don't like sitting on the fence?
I don't like sitting on the fence.
You should try it sometimes.
Yeah. I leave that to you.
Should we say bye with that?
I leave that to you.
Yeah?
Yes, I think we should.
Okay, so a bit of a serious one, yeah? Well, the cricket and then a bit of politics.
Yeah.
So till next time, take care now.
Bye-bye.